Hi, I'm Nancy O'Neill, and welcome to Suncoast FYI. This week we take a look at the red tide and hurricane season, a look at the nonprofit Project 12, outreach.org, plus a look at the upcoming Inglewood Pioneer Days, all next on Suncoast FYI. It's no secret we're feeling and smelling the effects of red tide here on the Suncoast. Giving us an insight into this ongoing problem in the midst of hurricane season is SNN meteorologist Marco Lamano. Well, I'm happy to have you here. I would like to know a little bit more of what's going on with this tide and what's the status, Marco?
Well, it's been a long-lasting algae bloom for sure, and nobody needs me to tell them that. But it is something that, while we're feeling some improvements recently, partly due to the easterly breeze, the organism associated with it, Karenia brevis is what it's called. I'll try not to say too much, but the organism associated with red tide is still in moderate to high quantities over much of the Suncoast. Now, recently we've had an onshore wind, a westerly wind that has helped bring not just the dead sea life, but also the smell of it onshore, in some cases further onshore than one would normally think.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've been smelling it up at the college, and that's unusual.
Yeah, it is. It is. It normally does not get that far in. It can, but it hasn't in recent years, at least not to this kind of frequency.
So we all know all of that. What's going on? Who's doing what? What can we expect in the near future?
Well, with the easterly winds we're getting, and that looks to be, at least for the near future, what we're getting, that'll help to at least mitigate the effects. That's not a cure for red tide, but it will help as far as not being as, offensive of a sight and smell as we've been seeing. They're definitely a mix of things. A lot of people really want to know what does cause this red tide. And yes, while the organism associated with the Karenia brevis is a natural organism, Milk Marine has been clear on their website as well that both natural and human contributed sources affect red tide.
We just exacerbated. I mean, it's a natural phenomena.
Yes, phosphorus levels, for example, not necessarily from Lake Okeechobee, but from other bodies of water that go from land to sea, can help exacerbate the problem, because what you have then is that you have the organism basically kind of feasting on this stuff. It acts as a bacteria reservoir for the Karenia brevis organism. And so that will help exacerbate the problem. It can be natural, but it can also be worsened by us. It is a combination. They don't have a percentage of what the combination is, but we do know that we can help cause it based on that. Port St. Lucie, for example. Our friends over there are having an issue with red tide, and FAU commissioned a study that's found that the septic system there has decreased the water quality and has helped contribute to the red tide bloom. It's not the cause of red tide, but it does contribute to the bloom.
So that's something I hope we're aware of over here as well.
Yeah, I have, to my knowledge, I have not yet seen a study that has analyzed our septic system in relation to red tide. I do know that Milk Marine has said that there are 12 different sources of which they know that the algae can kind of hold on to and is attracted to. And some of them, as I said, are natural, but some of them are human contributed as well.
Well, being that we're in such a state that we are, there's a couple cancellations that I would like to mention that can't take place this weekend because of it. It's the Marine Max Sarasota Aquapalooza. That's canceled. It's not rescheduled yet. And the 72nd Annual Labor Day Regatta has also been canceled and not rescheduled at this time, which is very unfortunate. So we have a couple minutes left. Let's talk a little bit about being in the peak of hurricane season. How's it been so far?
Yes, the historical peak for hurricane season is September 10th. We have actually not seen an enormous amount of activity in the month of August, which is pretty impressive. However, we are looking at Tropical Storm Florence As of our talk now, it will be forming soon. When this airs, we may very well already have Tropical Storm Florence. Long range, it does not look like it'll impact us. It's coming off the coast of Africa, and it looks like the Bermuda High is very weak, and so it'll find a weakness around that and curve out. That's what a lot of models are showing. There are some other tropical waves we're watching long term late next week that are coming off the coast of Africa. Long range, they don't look scary right now. I don't want anybody to get the wrong impression there. They will be worth monitoring, though.
Sure.
All of us on the weather team, me and Justin and Dan, will definitely be monitoring them. Right now, nothing to freak out over, nothing that's affecting us in the next 7 days, but definitely things coming next week that we will have to watch closely.
Okay, now not having hurricanes has been a bad thing for red tide, right?
Yes.
Because it hasn't moved it along.
It's amazing. A hurricane could actually help dilute this and kind of wash it away, but definitely not the solution we're looking for.
We don't want that as a solution, no. We'll keep the hurricanes at bay.
Yes.
Okay, thanks so much for all of this information,
You're very
Marco.
welcome.
Appreciate it. After the break, the nonprofit Project 12 Outreach stops by, so don't go far.